It's Saturday afternoon, November 19th, 2022. It's the Bill King Show right here at CIUT 89.5. A very special day, too. Jessica Bellamy, what's on the menu?
Ooh, we are fundraising, Bill. Fundraising.
We've got to do it.
Yep, we're raising the roof to the tune of $100,000 for the whole station goal. But you know what? We have our own show goal, Bill.
And tell me about that.
It's $1,000.
During this hour?
During this hour,
okay.
And you know what? We'll even extend it to the end of the of the drive, which is Sunday is the last day.
The last day.
The last day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we do this because there's so many things we're trying to do. Right now, we're trying to purchase the next generation of broadcast hardware and software, construction of a dedicated live music studio. Boy, we've been missing that. Oh. We used to use the map room, right?
Yeah, the map room. In fact, there may be some archival footage on one of our YouTube channels of some great performances in the map room, and also in the earlier days of the Arbor Room down in the basement.
Yeah, concerts there. I played there.
Yeah.
On that little stage they had there.
Yeah, and it's coming back. That's coming back.
And it should be pretty good. They'll probably put in a pretty good sound system and everything down there.
Yep.
Yeah. So also, we're moving to this HD hybrid digital, which all radio, basically, even AM radio is going to move to. Mm-hmm. So wherever you're at, you get quality radio. You get the big sound.
Yep.
It costs dollars.
It costs dollars. And you know what? And we do quality work, and we want that quality to shine. And so that's why we need this.
Now, also, there's podcast recording studio. We're going to have our own. Is this what it is?
Yeah. You know, do you remember Studio 4, our old kitchen?
Yeah.
That's turning into a podcast studio.
That's a nice little place.
Yeah, it's a nice space.
I used to go in there and steal the cups. Creation, development, implementation of CIUT FM audiovisual archives from the past. Where are these archives right now? Are they on disc or probably on some on CDs? And
well, guess I'll take a wild guess who has all the archives.
Let me guess. DB Hawks.
Oh, he's one, but a big source is Ken Stour, my friend.
He
saves everything.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So he has tons and tons, and he's been working on this for the past, I say, 3 years. Just getting all this archival footage together, recordings, and this way we can hire someone to really go in deep and be able to extract all these memories, really, and historical artifacts of the station, right?
Just figure Jeff Headley was there.
Yeah.
So many people, great people were there doing shows. Curtis Bailey. I mean, there's, just go through the whole list of people who were there. And the many people that came through. Oh, my goodness. Over the years. Yep.
And we'll hear more of that on Radio Recall.
Is that coming?
That's coming soon. I can't wait to make
Is this a Peter Stamp and
Peter Stamp, Steve Fruitman,
joint? When does that start?
Soon. So I'm looking forward to announcing that. They have at least 6-7 episodes in the bank right now. So I think next month they'll start. Yeah.
And we'll be back to hosting live community events. And we have to pay for those. It won't cost to go out with equipment and do that. It's something we want to do. And also sponsoring community programs, right?
Yeah, giving our platform to other community members and other initiatives so they can reach our audience too, a broader audience, because we broadcast from Kitchener to Coburg and Barrie to Buffalo Bill, right? Not Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill. We catch the guy on the move. How can people donate? And we do have a special donating button for us, right?
Yes, we do. So we can see our progress in reaching that $100,000, but for our show, the $1,000 goal. So you can go directly to our show page at CIUT.fm. And then you'll go to shows and you'll scroll over to Saturday and you'll see the Bill King Show. Click on that. And then you scroll down a little bit more. You'll see a nice bright green button. Click on that, baby, and donate away.
And there's many ways to donate.
There are. So you can call in now at 1-888-204-8976. That's toll free, or 416-946-7800. We also have a text to donate. So the number is 1-855-575-788. And then you'll type in the code 373312. You know what? Maybe at the beginning of our show, we should tell people to you're going to need a pad and a piece of paper.
That's right. To write all this stuff
write
down.
all this down. But you
can e-transfer?
But you can e-transfer.
Okay.
You can donate directly online, which is great. If you want to come by, during the week, even next week, you can stop by the station. We're right at Hart House. If you'd like to donate in cash or by check, you can drop that off in person too, or you can send it to our address at 7 Hart House Circle right here in Toronto.
In many ways, we've been compared to PBS in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And that's because of the variety of music, the variety of shows. We have 73 shows.
Yes.
But it's the variety over anything else. A lot of what's on radio that we hear in the country basically is contained. It fits a format. This sort of fits what the curator brings to the station. Mm-hmm. And it's always different, always new music. So it's kind of like, it's got its own, we got our own vibe.
Yeah.
So what I thought about when I speak into PBS, I was thinking of the first artist we'll listen to an interview. We're going to listen to 5 minutes. We'll be back after that, but we'll listen to a little more. We're going to do it just like they do it in the States, right? So,
give a little tease here and there.
Pavlo.
Yeah.
I've known him for many years. He's a true world music artist, and he returns from filming his 4th PBS TV concert special in Santorini, Greece. And he will be Saturday night. He will be at Massey Hall at 8 o'clock. So this is a bit of music from that, and also the first part of our conversation. It's Bill and Jessica right here at CIUT 89.5.
One of the world's most iconic guitarists, from one of the most beautiful spots in the world. Pavlo, live in Santorini. Join Pavlo and his special guests as he brings his Mediterranean feel-good music home to the Greek islands. A once-in-a-lifetime evening of music and memories. Pavlo, live in Santorini.
Well, I live in Tampa, Florida, but I mean, I haven't been home in 3 months, so back to the grind, which I'm just so happy to be doing it again.
You must have set out COVID, right?
I set out COVID. I actually had a 65. I was in the middle of a 65 city tour, and most of it was sold out. Yeah, so I lost a lot of money, millions. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
And but it's back. I'm back in action. I mean, I'm on a 30-city tour. I've got 9 cities left, and we're creeping up to Massey Hall on Saturday. So everything is beautiful, man. Back to normal. Thank God.
You must have some serious energy. These long tours. These are. How do you spread these out? Are these every day or?
They used to be every day. What I'm doing now is basically doing groups of shows. So I'll do like 3-4 shows in an area, give the guys, the guys will go home for a couple of days. Even if they only go home for 2 or 3 days, it's enough to rejuvenate, you know what I mean? Go back. I used to do 17 cities, 17 days in a row, 1 day off, 18 cities, 18 days in a row, but I'm not doing that anymore.
How do you take care of yourself on a tour? Do you have a regimen?
Yeah, you know what? I eat incredibly well. Like my core band is 4 guys, right? Obviously at Massey Hall, I'm going to have like 15 people on stage, but my core guys are 4 guys, and we eat really well, man. I don't do per diems like a normal band. Like we go out and we will eat at great places because I it's like one of those, what's the saying, penny wise and pound foolish. Like, it's a couple extra bucks, but you feel better, you look better, and you survive. If you're eating garbage on the road, you will become garbage, honestly.
That's a big factor in the endurance thing for this.
You got to eat well. You got to eat and sleep.
Yeah, so tell me more about the concert at Massey Hall. What can we expect?
Well, Toronto's always my homecoming type of show, right? So I'm going to have I'm actually flying in Daniel Emmett from Las Vegas. He's one of the world's up-and-coming tenors. He was in my last PBS special in Santorini. I don't know if you saw that one. I filmed it in Greece on the island of Santorini. Mm-hmm. But anyway, since then, Daniel's gone on to be a finalist on America's Got Talent. He's on tour with David Foster and yada yada. He's doing great. So I'm bringing him in as a guest. And then I've got a fantastic sax player, local guy, Carson Freeman. Played with everybody. I've got the Grenville Pinto on violin, he's usually in my TV shows. I've got Lira, upright, the Pontic Lira. He's one of the best in the world. Lazos Ioannidis, he's coming to be my guest as well. Of course, I have a bouzouki player with me. Oh, and I've got Colin Hunter. You must know Colin. Do you know Colin?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dear friend, and Colin's going to come up and sing a song. I've done a rendition with him, a few songs that I produced and arranged for songs like My Way, Besame Mucho, that kind of thing. So in a Roomba sort of up-tempo feel,
So you haven't been back to Massey Hall yet, have you?
Not the new one, no.
Okay. Oh, my God.
That's what I'm looking forward to, yeah.
You're going to love this. It's spectacular.
Yeah, everyone's telling me it's spectacular.
Spectacular.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, the sound is something else. The sight lines are great. The seats are comfortable. It's the upgrade was just done with the ultimate taste and consideration.
Awesome, man.
So I just want to go back here. When you began this journey, it was really it was Strunz and Farrar, Gypsy Kings, Jesse Cook, and all of this sort of happened or coalesced at the same time, and you found your space, your niche within this world music thing. And what was it that made you think, okay, I can do this? I can find my place in this.
Man, I don't know. When I look back, I must have been a real nut job, Like, in those days in the 90s, and I credit a lot to yourself and Lido. That's where I cut my teeth, right, in those festivals. And if anything, I'm a fast learner, and what I learned right away is that you got to be true to yourself. The moment you try to sound like the Gypsy Kings or you want to sound like Art Mali, whatever the flavor of the day is, you're going to be done, right? So I've always played in Greek wedding bands. Of course, I studied classical and flamenco growing up, but I played in those kind of ethnic bands. So it just came natural to me, to like embrace my culture as opposed to hide it. You know what I mean? Like instead of changing my name, I kept my name. Like what's wrong with Pavlo? I got a little criticized in the beginning, but hey, it is what it is, right? And it's the best thing I ever did because in my small little, tiny little world, I just carved out a little bit of a niche, and I played this what they call this Mediterranean hybrid, whatever. I call it feel good music, but yeah, they call it Mediterranean music. For whatever that means. Combining Greek, Middle Eastern, Latin rhythms, whatever. Obviously, I don't think in those terms. I just write. But I let my influences come out. You know what I mean? Now, of course, 16 albums later and 4 PBS television specials, I've been able to travel the world and meet lots of musicians, and I've incorporated all kinds of stuff, as I grew as an artist,
As I was saying, we featured just the best.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, I still can't believe the progress that he has made from just playing on the streets, playing at craft shows, and build up a following, and then he takes it worldwide, and he figures things out like invest in yourself. If you believe in yourself, he invested in himself.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's a story that it seems to kind of be like the story of lots of musicians, right? Yeah. Like there's one in particular that I started listening to, Benjamin Clementine. This was like years ago. Haunting kind of voice and pianist, and he's just all around just a fascinating individual. And after the music, and I started learning more about his story, he came from a family where being a musician, that's not going to fly. You need to be, a doctor or a lawyer or something, a person with some sort of clout. going into the arts won't get you far. So he was like, you know what, I'm leaving home. And he ended up being homeless and walking the streets and walking like from Paris to another town, like walking miles and miles just to get to a gig. And, you know, and now he's just like this force. And like,
it's extraordinary.
It's extraordinary. I'm just like, oh my God, just the heart and the determination and the will and the spirit of the human condition when it comes to the arts, Bill, and comes to music, right?
A lot of passion.
Lots of passion.
We get to tell those stories here at CIUT in many forms. We play the music, but we also have the spoken word. We engage the artists, but we engage our own, you know, which in many ways it's very difficult now for an artist to get heard. But number one, there's just too much of everything. We often have to think about, is this person serious about their career? I don't want to talk to you if you're not serious about your career. This takes a lot of drive and staying with it, you know. So anyway, we do have a grand prize trip.
We do.
What do you think? This sounds good. This is worth $3,500 if you make your donation.
Yeah, you get a trip to Iceland, and that's a trip for two. So you and your bestie can go to Iceland for 3 nights, okay? Round trip airfare, all paid for. You'll be flying into Reykjavik. You'll be staying at the lovely Hotel Nordica, okay? And you also get a Scandinavian buffet breakfast. That's included. When I go traveling, Bill, yes. I look for that buffet breakfast. If that's included, if it's like an extra $25, I'm like, I don't think so. But yes. And then you also get, you get a welcome, 72-hour welcome card. So you get free access to the city of Reykjavik's world famous thermal pools, their museums. You get public transportation passes just to help you get around and other retail discounts. And then you also get 2 festival passes for next year's, that's 2023's, Iceland Airwaves here in Toronto. They come here every year, and CIUT hosts them, and we have such a good time.
And they really like being here.
And they really like being here. They've been coming here, and we've been sponsors for years. I have to say, like at least over 5, maybe 6 years.
Now to be eligible, the Inspired by Iceland North American Sweepstakes is open to donors of the CIUT FM Fall 2022 membership drive. Donors must be 18 years of age or older to enter to be eligible to win.
Yep, and you must become a member. So that's at the donation level at the $89.50.
$89.50.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are the other levels?
We have the $500 level, which is back in full effect, because at the $500 level, you get to host your own 2-hour program.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's freaking-tastic.
That's $250 an hour. You get to do your own hosting.
Yeah. You can't do that anywhere else. And you can also gift this to a very special someone. You can even go in with a friend or a couple friends, donate, and then produce your own show. And you'll be given full direction, full support by CIUT staff, and you'll get your own technical producer and all that good stuff.
So you can go online immediately at CIUT.fm and donate. The second half of that interview with Pavlo. I always found this fascinating about you because it was also about tenacity and marketing.
Of course.
I don't know where you got this from, but I would see you at the X or at the CNN or wherever. You would have a booth there. When you played the corners, some of those small corners in the Beaches Festival, you had a stand set up. You had the CDs, and you sold really well. And you laid the groundwork business-wise, and I don't know where that came from.
I don't know either. I mean, my dad was an entrepreneur, but he had nothing to do with the music business. My dad just helped me the best way that he could at the time with the resources he had. And that's basically driving me to guitar lessons, or in the early days, he would sell the CDs so that I wouldn't have to pay anybody.
That was it.
and my mom and my sister, I mean, it really was a family affair. You can't do it by yourself, Bill. I had a lot of support from my immediate family, and I'm forever indebted to them. My dad's going to be at the concert at Massey Hall, and I'm going to surprise him When I did one of the PBS specials in Greece, I went up to him and I performed a song for him, and I'm going to do this, but I can't tell him that because if I do, he won't show up. So for me. Listen, everyone says, "Oh, you're such a businessman, such a marketer." I am actually not. What I am is absolutely obsessed with the music that I write and the music that I play. So I will do anything to promote my music. That's it. So I would be a terrible marketeer for another artist. I would be a terrible business manager for another artist or whatever. I can only do it because I completely believe to my core that what I write is true to my being, and it found a home, man. I can't, be lying to you if I told you I knew what I was doing. I did not. All I knew was, I can play here at the craft show, no problem. I'll do it for free. Just let me sell my CDs. But I would sell thousands of CDs.
You did. I was always amazed at how many people were crowded around your booth, because one thing, at these craft shows, you were the only guy basically doing this.
That's right. And I was just, but those are the kind, that's just one small example. I played in women's clothing. So I would play anywhere that I think my audience would be, because I needed to find a built-in audience because I didn't have a fan base at that point. But what I found out really quickly is when you find that audience, wherever it is, a craft show, a festival, they would buy. That's what you can't predict. How would I know I'd go to a craft show and sell 1,000 CDs in 3 days or whatever? But I also took it nationally and across America. When I knew that worked, I took that formula. I went right across Canada. I played every craft show, every festival. I went right down to America, played every craft show, and I just went on for years and years and years, and immediately used those funds to put a band together, and that was it. I just started to tour like crazy, man.
How did you come to the attention of PBS? Did you make your first one and then sell it to them, or did you work out a?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
So the first, I approached. I knew it was definitely a great avenue for me because of guys like Yanni and there's so many artists. Bill Bonamassa does great now, and all these cats. But what I did is I recorded it. I paid for it. With no with no commitment on their part. That's how they work, right? In the beginning, anyway. So it was very close to being one of the most expensive home videos of all time. But they accepted it, and the Live in Castoria, which I did in 2015, released in 2016, aired over 1,000 times across America and Canada. Made a lot of money for them, over $1 million. Not for me, but for them, for their fundraising efforts.
Absolutely.
But in return, it spread the name, man. And now I'm at the point. The last one I did in I did one in Guadalajara as well with the Philharmonic Orchestra in Mexico. But the last one they paid for, because of my previous success, and it's already aired 500 times. It's been amazing.
And to be in Greece to do it.
Pinch me moment, man. That's all I can tell you. Pinch me moment.
And how did the people there receive it?
It was awesome. It was in the middle of the pandemic last year. We got in I brought in a crew of 50 because they opened up Greece, and we did it, and it was awesome. It was awesome. The local network airs my shows in Greece as well. ERT. It was great. But, the intention was to bring this back to Canada, back to the U.S., and share my music with everybody, and I'm so humbled to tell you that, the New York station is the biggest station in America. It's already aired it like 8 times, so my tour finishes in New York City on December 11th. Man, it's hard to draw New York.
How are your tickets rolling? Are they selling well?
They're doing great. They're doing great. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's hit and miss. A lot of people are still afraid to come out.
That's right.
What it is. But like Denver, we just did 4 sold-out nights in Denver, the Soil Dove. Great place. Depends where it is. Middle America, we did stuff in Nebraska and Kansas. All that went well. We were just in Detroit 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. Mm-hmm. It was okay. Surprising in Michigan, they were still afraid to come out. A lot of people with masks. It's all good. You know what I mean? Everyone will come back on their own time schedule, and I respect everybody's decision. But I can tell you that anyone that does come to the shows, I'm absolutely forever grateful. I really am,
So it's November 19th, Massey Hall. The show starts at 8 p.m., and the tickets are available where?
Yeah.
Where do you get your tickets?
Tickets are available at the Massey Hall website or box office, Yeah, it's all wherever they get their tickets from Massey Hall. It's all there, and it's going to be my biggest show to date with Massey. I just can't wait. It's going to be incredible.
Congratulations, Pavlo, and thanks for this. I deeply appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for your help and your continued support over the years, Bill. I really appreciate it, man.
Hi, this is Gloria Martin. I've worked in radio for over 4 decades now, in all kinds of formats, stations big and stations small. The best part of radio is its connection with the audience and the community, and CIUT is all about that. I'm thrilled to be part of the Bill King Show with Bill, Jessica Bellamy, and Mark Hepsher. It's exciting to contribute to this energetic and diverse snapshot of the city and its people. I've also become an avid listener to much of the other programming. Wow, CIUT is a gem, folks. Great music, great talk, great information, real people. Please help us keep it that way with your donation to CIUT 89.5 FM.
This is the Bill King Show you're listening to with Jessica Bellamy and Bill King. And welcome in. And this is fundraising, the fall campaign. And we encourage you to go to the phones and dial in.
Yeah. I'll give you those numbers right now.
Okay.
So 416-946-7800 or toll free at 1-888-204-8976. You can also donate online by going directly to our page at CIUT.FM. You're going to help Bill and I and Mark and Gloria get to that $1,000 goal for our program. So we're trying to reach that goal between now and the end of the fundraising drive, which is tomorrow, which is Sunday, ends at midnight.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do it.
We have a merch store, and this is great. You can visit at CIUT.FM. And for $150 plus, you receive up to a $30 coupon for these items. Stowaway jotter notepad. A reusable metal straw.
Yep, you gotta love that because no one's doing plastic straws anymore.
No.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Paper straws.
And Orion light up Bluetooth speaker with the CIUT logo.
And then we also have earbuds with a travel case,
We like
and then
that.
also has a CIUT logo.
And receive a 35% discount on all merch items, including logo t-shirts, sweaters, and hoodies, socks, face masks, and bags, Bluetooth speakers, posters, and pins.
Yes.
You can do it.
Yeah, we could totally do it.
You have a cat.
I do.
You can get with the next artist we're going to talk to here. I've already spoken to him, but you can introduce her.
Yes, this is Liona Boyd. She is an internationally renowned guitarist known as the First Lady of the Guitar. She has written a charming and humorous story about a beautiful cat who is determined to play the classical guitar like his owner. Written in rhyming poetry, the story was inspired by her playful real-life cat, Muffin, who lived to almost 20. Oh, what a good life. This whimsical story teaches kids that nothing in life comes without tremendous focus and effort. And the name of this book is The Cat Who Played Guitar.
Well, here's that conversation. This is a illustrated book by Laura Fernandez and Rick Jacobson. Cat Who Played the Guitar by Liona Boyd. Muffin was your cat.
I had the most beautiful cat in the world.
Okay.
It's called, the book is called The Cat Who Played Guitar. And Laura, believe it or not, was a specialist in drawing cats. So when I connected, actually through her ex-husband, Rick, when I said, well, Laura, I know her as an artist, as a singer. And he said, oh, no, we won awards all over the world for different things. She did some of the Purina cats. And anyway, she absolutely captured the look of Muffin and with a little guitar. And I actually staged it with my real cat, who lived to be almost 20. And I got a tiny little guitar in Sevilla, Spain. And it took several days. I had to have a little tuxedo made by my dressmaker in Beverly Hills. And you wouldn't believe, well, the book contains 2 pages of the real pictures of my real cat. The picture of him holding the guitar in the little tuxedo, and I got him to smile by dangling shrimp. I had a housekeeper who hung it on the end of a fishing pole, and we staged it. It was incredible. I'm thinking if I release this, it'll probably go viral because I've never seen a more beautiful cat with huge green eyes. He was white with big green eyes. And it just looks exactly like he's playing the guitar. So this inspired me to write a book, and it's all in poetry. And I've always loved poetry since I was a kid. So it goes, this is the story told wide and told far of a beautiful cat who could play the guitar. He had emerald eyes and soft, silky fur. When he zoomed through the house, all you saw was a blur. Muffin's owner, Liona, dressed up like a star, but what she loved most was to play the guitar. So it's all in that type of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" rhythm. It's very musical. Yes. I think kids will love it, and parents will love to read it to their children and grandchildren. Muffin was always curling up and listening to me. She jumped in the cases she let him explore and chased her guitar strings around on the floor. But his owner, Liona, was often not home. In those days, poor Muffin felt sad and alone. It goes on how Muffin... the idea really is to teach kids that if you have an impossible dream, it takes tremendous focus and effort, but in the end, you might be able to make your dream come true. In the end, Muffin gives concerts, and you see him in front of an audience, and I think it's a good lesson for kids, and as young as 2, my sister's granddaughter enjoyed it, and she wasn't even 3 yet.
Have you kept a pad and pen around your sister so you can sit down and collect the ideas and the poems and the?
No, it came to me in one big download of creativity, and it's taken a while to actually make it into a book. You can get the soft cover here on Amazon and all over the world actually, and you can get it. It's frustrating because the only hardcover version is through Barnes & Noble in the U.S. But I'm so pleased that it's now finally out. People hold it, look at it, and the friends I've let have a preview. They just think it's delightful, and they all want to get it for their kids and grandkids. And it's I've had other books that've been autobiographies, so this is very different. Maybe it's the start of a new career. Who knows?
It could be. Now there will be an audiobook companions coming to this. When will this arrive?
Any day, the audiobook. And I read it, and then after that you hear all the pieces that Muffin played. Of course, I've taken them from some of my early albums, little sweet pieces that kids will enjoy.
My first piano teacher in 1958, she had a cat named Boogaboo. And it became infamous for the fact that whenever a student would take piano lessons, Boogaboo would go racing through the house past all of us, and he would skate on his nails across the kitchen floor and crash into the cabinets.
Oh, dear. No, my cat was much better behaved. He'd sit very quietly while I painted, while I played guitar. He was a Beverly Hills cat. What can I say?
He was a Beverly Hills.
Now, my ex-husband, who's still alive, he's a lot older than me, but he just fell so in love with Muffin, with the cat. And he wasn't even a cat person at all. He liked dogs. So I totally converted him. And we had all kinds of adventures. We'd take Muffin with us to buy frozen ice cream, frozen yogurt. We'd take him on little trips. I don't think he loved driving the car, but he was a wonderful companion, used to sleep beside us on the pillow, and we cried so much when he died.
When he saw other cats, did he have attitude?
Oh, cats all have attitudes. Yes, of course. Yes, but he had a mansion to live in. We used to lose him in the Beverly Hills house. I lived in this fantastic house across from Ozzy Osbourne. I think you know that story. In fact, we once took Muffin over to visit. Sharon insisted that her teacup chihuahua would love Muffin. Of course, they looked at each other. It wasn't exactly a love affair.
That was part one of Liona Boy. We're going to play some more from that conversation.
Yeah, let's do that.
She's staying creative.
She is.
Always think of something.
I'm inspired. I'm going to write a book
about
my cat who learns how to play the guitar, the violin.
Okay.
Because her owner, me, has yet to pick it up and get lessons. And so my cat bests me at playing the violin.
So we had two cats, Tom and Kitty, for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Kitty loved my piano playing so much, he sprayed the piano constantly.
It's like, this is mine now.
Yeah. And he would walk in and he goes, so whatever was played there, I own it now. Right? He'd come in after
the copyright.
And I'd go around, buddy, you're leaving here soon. And he hung around for 20 years.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We got a message from Mark Hebscher.
Ooh,
let's hear what Mark has. Mark's part of our show, and he is absolutely entertaining.
Hi, this is Mark Hebscher, and I've been broadcasting for over 40 years, from Sportsline to Hebsy on Sports. Each Saturday, I join cohorts Gloria Martin, Jessica Bellamy, and Bill King, and we talk the talk, sports, music, whatever comes to mind. CIUT 89.5 FM is that place on the dial where music and talk of every medium flows unabated, from the Toronto Blue Jays to King Crimson. Please participate in our fall fundraising efforts as we continue to provide a broad spectrum of music and ideas. Just bring up the webpage, CIUT.FM, and a donate button will appear. Listener-supported radio. That's The Bill King Show, Saturdays, 1 to 2 p.m.
Mark is on the money.
Yeah.
Every week.
Every week.
He makes the trip. He walks up here from college up to St. Clair, shows up exactly on the minute. Mm-hmm. We come down to the basement and we just turn the mics on. No discussion prior to anything. We just start talking.
Yeah, he gets right at it.
And it's just pure magic. It's like bands that rehearse forever, and then they go in and record, and then they take like 20 tracks, and you keep losing the edge on it. Mm-hmm. It's the first take.
Yeah. And you know what? How long is this your first time working directly with Mark, with radio?
I never knew him.
Never knew him before this, eh? No. Oh, wow.
Since we moved to Saturday afternoon, I changed to, I thought the concept of magazine format, me and Gloria have always wanted to work together. Appeared on the show several times and did entertainment. And Mark came one time, showed up one time, and we just talked about his life and everything. And so in the back of my mind, when we moved to Saturday afternoon, I thought, Jessica, Mark, me, and Gloria, we can bring guests. We get out in the community. We're always paying attention to everything. That's why we try to keep it as fresh as possible here. So they're exciting people. Plus, they're award-winning folks, man, from radio. They've been on there a long time. CFRB, CTV. I mean, you name it. They've been there, and they're just absolutely the best.
We have part 2 of Liona Boyd's interview. Here we go.
Poem's been around for quite a while. It's taken me all these years to finally get it published, because I had the idea. At first it was just a narrative. It wasn't in poetry. And then I thought, why don't I try and rhyme it? I was brought up on little rhymes and nurse rhymes and Rupert Bear and all kinds of English children's rhymes. So, and I've always been good with words and rhymes, as you know, from my songwriting. So it was sort of a natural thing to make it into rhyme, especially that particular rhyme. It's called anapestic tetrameter. That's the rhythm. But all I know is 'twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house. That sure appealed to children and adults. And that's probably sold millions of copies. So I thought I'll use that rhyming scheme.
Okay.
And I think it's a delightful little book.
You want to give us something from the book?
Muffin took little cat naps. He slept everywhere and lazed in the sun on his favorite chair. Then one day she came back from traveling far and unpacked a miniature Spanish guitar. It smelt of the forest and sweet flowery wood. How he'd love to play it if only he could. She took it and put it beneath the back stairs in a closet where she'd stored her old teddy bears. He'd a sudden idea. He made note of the place, and a secretive smile crossed his pussycat face. At night by Liona, pretending to sleep, he now had a dream and a secret. He crept down the hall. It was dark, it was night, and the moon on the carpet was all that was light. The room wasn't far, and the door was ajar, and there on a shelf lay the tiny guitar. He used his clipped claws to pluck every string, the way he'd seen Liona make her guitar sing. Muffin played and he played till his paws became sore. Then he carried it back and his nose shut the door. Each night in the closet for hours he stayed and taught himself pieces Liona had played. I've got the royal family in here too because I was friends with them. But one cloudy morning he had to depart, and Muffin felt lonely and sad in his heart. The Queen and Prince Philip had asked her to play a concert in England, and she'd flown away. So I've got a picture in the back, 2 pages with all the different pictures of Muffin, some dressed up, some posing, some looking at the shrimp. And I managed to get the Queen and Prince Philip. I know everybody's gone now, Muffin and the Queen and my friend Prince Philip, but it's nice to remember them. And once Prince Philip wished Muffin and I Merry Christmas. He knew that I had this cat called Muffin. Yes, I had.
How did he do that? How did he wish you Merry Christmas?
In a letter, he types in the end. But all his letters, he always wrote, "Dear Leona, love Philip."
That's fantastic. Have you kept a pad and pen around your sister so you could sit down and...
We're pen pals for 35 years.
That's amazing.
I know. I pinch myself. I was very, very lucky.
And
I played several times, and I wrote, I have 2 other books, and both of them describe some of my various encounters with the royal family. I met the Queen's mother. I met a lot of her friends and had amazing experiences staying overnight in Windsor Castle.
Well, the book is called The Cat Who Played Guitar by Leona Boyd. Leona, thank you so much for this. And great luck with the book. And
in future, I have a song actually called You're My Dear Cat. And then I thought, this could also apply to a dog. So just for the dog lovers, I did another song with the same kind of plot. And it's called You Are My Dog. So that's not coming out. Next year, I have a different album. It's mostly instrumental, a lot of it inspired by Vangelis. And that one is...
when you get to the dog one, my dog's name is Samson.
Oh.
Okay.
It's already recorded. I can't put his name in. I'm sorry.
He's a Yorkie Shih Tzu, and we call him Samson because he's a big little doggy. Okay?
Yes.
And he's 17. And he's still kicking. He's kicking great.
17?
Right,
that's an old doggy.
Yeah, he's an old doggy. Hey, thanks so much for this, Leona. Leona Boyd.
Yep, and The Cat Who Played Guitar is available worldwide on Amazon and in the U.S. at Barnes & Noble. Stay tuned for the accompanying audiobook coming soon via Audible. Read aloud by Leona herself, and they make a great pairing as children can follow along in the book while Leona reads it to them.
She's so much fun.
Yes, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it is. I'm just always happy to see people trying different things,
Yeah.
We were talking at the beginning of the show why we're raising money. We're trying to raise $100,000, right?
Yes.
And we had spoken to the fact that our CIUT community is growing, and we have a cohort of enthusiastic University of Toronto undergrads who are keen to contribute to and gain skills in broadcast radio. That's where you start.
That's where you start. This is the next generation. And we also have some co-op students, Bill. We have 2 co-op students, and we put them to work. So they're working on our social media. They have one is in interested in sports, so he is working on a sports broadcast project. Just not sitting around, just looking at us do things. They are in the mix. They have jobs.
This makes it happen.
Yeah, it makes it happen. So they get some real world experience.
And we're trying to raise, like I said, $100,000, and this is what's on the agenda, why we need this, and it's the purchase of the next generation broadcast hardware and software. Things are transforming in the studio. The CD players are gone. This is a new world of technology, right?
It's a whole new world.
It's great.
Yeah. It's so good that we're at this spot. It's such a sweet spot to be at, and for all the volunteers to start coming back to the studio now too, and hosting their shows right in Studio 3 and in the map room again. So it's a nice, fresh place. It's nice.
We always
and new.
like that. Everybody, just think, Ian Tyson, Sylvia Tyson was down there with us, Ruthie Foster.
Yeah.
All the great artists that came down to visit us.
I know. I'm looking up into my brain, like running through all
there
the
were
faces.
So many.
And people. Yeah. We never missed a show, Bill.
No, never.
We never missed a show, unless it was a holiday.
No, but we've never missed one.
Never missed a show.
We are the healthiest people.
Yeah.
To be on radio.
Yep, healthy.
Reliable.
Yep, reliable. And
always
there was always great guests.
We're also constructing a dedicated live music studio, which we said. Also moving to hybrid digital, which is the next generation of technology for the sound, the broadcast sound. Boy, folks that hear AM radio know the difference between that and FM, but both of them are going to this new level of technology, which is just fantastic. Building a dedicated podcast recording studio, and you can donate at CIUT.FM. Right on the front page is a donate button. Creation and implementation of a new podcast channel.
Yeah. So that is a big project, because we'll have lots of opportunities for our undergrads to create and produce programming that you won't hear necessarily on our airwaves. So this really broadens our reach and our scope to have all these unique voices, especially the young voices too, for them to create and run wild and have a good time. So the podcasting studio and the platform, all that, it's such a huge project, and we're really, really looking forward to getting that off the ground.
So now we're going to move on to the Joan Beckow Legacy Project album release, concert, and documentary preview. And that's Saturday night too, 8 p.m. And this is at Holy Blossom Temple, Mishkan, up at 1950 Bathurst Street. Come celebrate the debut, yet posthumous, album release of under-celebrated female Canadian Jewish composer Joan Beckow. General admission is $25. This is that conversation with Jessica Stewart.
Once there was a tailor who traveled from place to a place. One ordinary tailor of ribbons and ruffles and lace, and wherever he'd go, he'd sow contentment into every sleeve and in every seam. A tailor's dream would be found there.
Why the story? Why Joan's story? Is it Beckow or is it Beckham?
It's Becko, like rhymes with echo.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So how did you come to this, her music and the project?
Yes, that's a great question. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for me because my mother was her 40-plus year collaborator. So I actually, basically, Joan's music was kind of the soundtrack of my life because my mother and her would work together so often. And then my mother was kind of her main champion for the past 50 years or so, and so would bring her pieces, her choral pieces and her musicals and all these other things to the different groups that my mother would lead as music director. My mother's name is Wendy Bross Stewart, by the way, and she is Vancouver-based, but born and raised in New York, so has the real musical theater blood coursing through her veins, you know? So I came to it very honestly, and I actually grew up thinking that Joan Becco was famous because of the amount of her music I heard disproportionately in my life, and also because I knew she was great friends with Carol Burnett back in the day, and so I thought as a child that she must have also been famous. And then I went and auditioned with one of Joan Becco's pieces in the mid-2000s for a salaried choral position here in Toronto. And the funny thing was the people I was auditioning for were so taken by the piece that they kind of forgot I was there almost. And became a quest for them to discover about this composer, if they had more music, all this stuff. And I told them foolishly that this was the famous Canadian choral composer, Joan Becco, and how they really hadn't heard of her. How could they have not heard of her? But in fact, when I spoke with my mother later that night to find out where they could find her music online to bring her charts to their other ensembles and such, then my mother informed me that Joan's music has never been professionally recorded in her entire life or career, and that there was no access to any of her music online except for one single choral piece that my mother had pitched to Hal Leonard, and they had picked up, so had been then performed around the world. So when I found that out, I was completely flabbergasted, because this idea I had built in my head of this kind of famous composer who was a part of my family unit was just kind of, I'd made up part of it, I guess. And so I got the idea for the Joan Becco Legacy Project then. And, life is very busy. I'm a freelance person. I run my own project. I do all sorts of other things. And so does my mother. She music directs a lot in Vancouver and does a ton of stuff. So we were both quite busy. And the idea of doing this project wasn't actually sort of made possible until the pandemic came and sort of cleared our schedules. So we applied for some grants, got them on First Go, Canada Council and Ontario Arts Council. And unfortunately, also during the pandemic, Joan Becco passed away. So we got her consent to do this project in advance of that the last time that I visited with her in Vancouver in 2019. But so we just set off to the races, and we've been hustling for the last 15 months. And I produced and co-music directed this awesome double disc set with my mother, which kind of represents Joan Becco's career. One disc dedicated to a selection of her musical theater repertoire, and one disc dedicated to more of her classical sacred music, because she was very inspired by Jewish liturgical texts and set them in this incredible way to music, which is kind of very the stuff that I love the most. Even though I'm not particularly religious, but I do feel religious when I'm listening to Joan Becco music.
But what's nice too is she takes some odd twists and turns melodically. It's not predictable. I think that's what sets her apart.
I agree with you, and I think she's just always sort of been a little bit outside of the box, and I think I took that on from her myself as a composer to the detriment of my career, perhaps. But I didn't actually realize till doing this project how much I modeled my aesthetic after hers. So yeah, but I think that's what makes it really special. And I've always felt, there's a documentary which is a part of this project, which is not going to be, it can't be publicly viewed except for at these events, the one that happened in Vancouver. And then there'll be another preview screening this Saturday at the big release concert on the 19th at Holy Blossom Temple.
Jessica, quite a show.
Quite a show. Oh.
Let's give everybody the information they need. It's a Bill King show. Support the show, support the station when you're doing both.
Yes.
We're trying to raise $1,000 during this hour. So.
Yes, and I know we can do it.
Let people know how they can do that.
Yeah. You can call in at 416-946-7800 or toll free at 1-888-204-8976. You also can go online at CIUT.fm to donate as well. And there are lots of different ways to donate, not just through e-transfer and cash, but, if you have some securities lying around you want to throw our way.
Sounds good.
And also we accept cryptocurrency as well, all through the help of the partnership with Canada Helps. So we're able to take in all your wonderful, generous financial contributions.
Yes.
So this is fantastic. So once again, 416-946-7800 or toll free at 1-888-204-8976.
CIUT.FM. You scroll to shows, then you'll see the Saturday. You'll see all the shows listed, and then you scroll into Saturday, and you just hit the Bill King Show, and our page will come up, and there's a button there too.
Yes, a nice green button. You can't miss it.
I know you can't. Jessica, thank you so much. Mark Hepsher, Gloria Martin, and we want to thank everybody for supporting the station for 35 years. Just greatly appreciated. Jessica, I think we'll go out and finish off the interview with Jessica Stewart.
Yes, let's do that.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
So one thing that I learned a lot about her while making the documentary. Kind of became a Joan Becco archivist and historian. And one of the things that I learned was that her mother passed on when she was 9 years old. And when I heard that, that made a lot of sense to me, because I have always felt, like you say, about the twists and turns in her music. I always felt that she was had this amazing ability to be able to represent these kind of complex emotions almost that people have through song, like guide your body through this kind of series of feelings about things which might otherwise be contradictory feelings. So the happy, sad thing, she's just nails that. The idea of this elation and joy, and with a touch of sadness. And so it kind of makes sense now that I know her history, but it's really a special skill, and also a special skill to be able to go through so many keys in time signatures in one single piece without it being intellectual at all, seeming intellectual, with it seeming very natural and flowing, even though it's so sophisticated. So that's kind of one of the things about her.
Did she leave behind the scores for all of this?
She had, funny you should ask, because she has all hand-scrawled scores.
Wow.
So the importance of this recording also is that without having the music for people to fall in love with, it would be very hard to get new people to want to embark on the difficulty of reading these scores with so many key changes and time signature changes. And my mother was kind of an editor of hers as well, and so helped kind of clean up a lot of those things, and has gotten several of her scores engraved as well. So now they're much more legible and usable. And in fact, we also got a lead sheet made to her instant Christmas classic, A Christmas Wish, which is on the album I Will Be the Tune of this record. So we're hoping that some jazz people will call it on their gig coming up soon. We'll see if this winter provides.
Now, the people involved, Jocelyn Bart, Whitney Ross Barish, of course, Jessica Stewart, cantor David Rosen, and on the recording, Jessica Lalonde.
That's correct. And also Alex Samaras on the recording, and also Doug McNaughton, and then several vocalists from out west who I don't know if you would know or not. But yeah, I wanted to, one of the things is that because my mother's leaning is musical theater, when I grew up, all of these pieces, even the liturgical ones I heard, or even the ones which have this more kind of jazzy thing, which it goes hand in hand with old school musical theater, of course. It was always these very acty sort of voices on it, and that's appropriate for some of the material. But I always had a dream of hearing a more pure, kind of authentic sounding voice singing these pieces. So when I was sort of hiring the Toronto roster, because as the way that we divided it up was that we do most of the musical theater stuff in Vancouver, live off the floor. We did it at the Warehouse Studio, and then we did most of the classical sacred music stuff here in Toronto at Canterbury Music Company, live off the floor also. Because this is a project celebrating the composer and not celebrating an artist who is performing this material, I thought it was really important to have a lot of different types of voices representing this music, so that we could actually, the listener could actually understand the breadth of who can enjoy this or who can participate in this. It would reach sort of more people. So picking a voice like Jocelyn Barth's, I could just imagine her singing this music, and in hearing her talk about this project after, she had never done something this classical.
So this is Holy Blossom Temple.
It's 1950.
1950, yeah.
1950, yeah.
So this is November 19th, Saturday night at 8 p.m.
That's correct. And there's also the screening of the documentary, which is quite amazing. And I do have to say that I interviewed Carol Burnett 2 weeks ago in the final hour for the film. So that's a special little feature as well. She was so gracious with her time, and it was amazing because she remembered so many of the old songs from the first musicals that they did together when they met at UCLA. She started singing them. It was amazing. I have digital, digitized. I was handed a stack of paper, glass, and vinyl records, which we didn't know when they were from, but assumed the 50s. And it turns out those were demos of Joan playing the songs she had written for some of these early musicals she had done with Carol. And so I know those songs well because we use them as the soundtrack of the kind of history part of the documentary. And so when I was speaking with Carol, I had those kind of queued up and ready to go because I had a feeling she'd remembered the stuff from early in her career. And she did. She remembered, started singing along. She helped us figure out the name of one untitled demo. It was unbelievable. And we're talking about demos from 1953.
A big thank you for all who tuned in to Bill King Show. We'll catch you on the other side.